Okay, so this is an extension off of what we just previously learned. Earlier in this chapter, we worked with square roots. So remember, just a reminder of what a square root is. That's where we have the radicand symbol, and it's implied that there's actually a 2 out here. So like, for example, if we had 16 under here, we would need to find what number times itself twice would give us 16. So square roots are those basic multiplication facts, right? So 2 times 2 would give me 4. 3 times 3 was 9. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so this would be 4. If we wanted to find the square root of 16, 4 is the square root because 4 times 4 would give us 16. Today, what we're going to work with is what they call a cubed root. So a cubed root of a number is a number that when multiplied by itself and then multiplied by itself again equals the given number. So in other words, when you take that number times itself 3 times, it's going to give you the number underneath of our symbol. A perfect cube is a number that can be written as a cube of an integer. So for example, on our squared roots, when we did the square root of 16, that is the same as 4 squared. So that's what they're referring to in this last part, that a perfect cube is going to be that number that can be written as a perfect number integer to the 3rd power, okay? So here we need to find what number times itself 3 times would give us 8. So we're going to just do trial and error. 8's a pretty small number. We could start with 1. Well, 1 times 1 times 1 is just going to give us 1, so it can't be that one. So let's try 2. If I were to do 2, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 gives me 8. That's what I needed. I needed to get 8. So what number times itself 3 times? Take note, 1, 2, 3. That number was 2. Okay, so 2 to the 3rd power is the same as the cubed root of 8. Okay, so our final answer, we're just going to write 2. What number times itself 3 times would give us 8? That would be 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and try a couple more of these. Well, quite a few more because you have to get lots of reps. Okay, so here we just did letter A, so we're not going to go ahead and do that one. So this time they want us to find the cube root of negative 27. So visually, this is what they're referring to, the 3rd root or cubed root of negative 27. Now, whenever you have a negative number, you're going to have negatives on your number when you go to multiply them out. So what number times itself would give us 27? Well, obviously it's not 2. It's got to be bigger than 2 because that was 8. So let's try 3. Negative 3 times negative 3, that would give me positive 9. Times negative 3, well, 9 times 3 is 27. I have 1, 2, 3 negatives, so that would be negative 27. So our final answer here is negative 3. Negative 3 is the cubed root of negative 27. Okay, it's just getting comfortable with understanding that you need to find that number 3 times, no more. Sometimes what happens is people on their calculators think they're going to hit the times sign 3 times. No, you hit the number 3 times. Okay, and we're going to practice this without a calculator. When you're done with this lesson, if you would like me, if you can prove to me you can do it by trial and error and you want me to show you how to use your calculator, I will be glad to show you the button function that you can use to do a cubed root. Okay, so here for 216, well, 3 was 27. 216 is quite a ways away from that. So let's just try a number maybe, let's just randomly try a number. Let's try 8. Okay, so not that you have to do this longhand. You can take your calculator out, but pay very close attention to when you're punching this in, that you are punching in what you're seeing here on the screen. Don't punch the multiplication sign 3 times because that's where people tend to make their mistakes. So I'm going to do 8 times 8 times 8. That gives me 512. That's way too big. So it can't be 8. It has to be smaller. So let's try 6. 6 times 6 times 6. Oh. When I do that, I get 216, and that's what I needed. So the cubed root, or the 3rd root, of 216 is 6. Okay, so 6 to the 3rd power is the same as the 3rd root of 216. But we're going to give the answer as just what number times itself 3 times would give us 216. Okay, so let's try some more of these. Okay, what number to the third root of 0? What's the third root of 0? What number times itself 3 times would give us 0? I'm hoping you don't even have to try this one out. That would be 0. Okay, the third root of 125. So we just did 216, and that was 6. So it has to be lower than 6. Okay, so let's try 5. It ends in a 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. So the final answer for this would be 5. The third root of 125 is 5. Okay, I want you guys to try these two. So go ahead, pause your video, work your way through these two, and then start your video back up to check yourself. You should have gotten 4 for the cubed root of 64. And sorry, I wrote 1. And I wrote 4, I meant to write 1. And 1 for the third root of 1. Okay, remember, when you're doing these, you're finding what number times itself 3 times would give you the number underneath of the Radicand symbol.